Okay guys, I'm going to consider this the 8th cut, which consisted of our chamber cut, consisted of cutting our fin off of our short side radius, changing our layback on our short side radius a little bit. It's still quite tall, probably taller than most guys would run. And I did the Dykem differently because someone suggested I do it through the manifold, which makes a mess. I did want to see the way it goes through the port, through the manifold. And I also wanted to see how much of an overhang I have, because I didn't go quite to the gasket line. Right? You can see the gasket line. It really needs to go that deep. And the reason it's only this much is because there was tape over it, but the tape had glue on it as well. Let's move the light around a little bit. You know what? Let's do this. It's very difficult to see, but we've got nice blue on both sides of that guide. Okay, it's right to the roof. It's relatively wide. I can hardly see anything on our chamber cut. I do see some slight speckling here, and I see a faint haze of blue all around this area. I don't know if you guys can be able to see that or not. Take a look at the valve. Okay, what actually I think happened, you can just see it. It did cover quite a bit of the valve. I think the blue is actually, you know, basically dry almost by the time it gets there. All right, let's change our lighting and take a look. Okay, I'm not sure how well you guys will be able to see this. Doesn't look like you can see it at all, but this is all blue. Okay. Here is quite a bit of blue inside that port. Let's see if we can focus that for you guys. Okay, if we look right down it, I'm going to take it as a win, guys. Okay. Now, these are almost finalized. They are almost where I want them to be. Sorry about the bouncing. What else do we need to do to these? This is the same port we've been testing the whole time. Okay, I finally have the flows pretty close to what I was hoping to get to. And then, of course, I have to make every other port exactly the same, which is still going to need some work. They're all, you know, I really double check everything. Okay, let's just take a quick look at our chamber cuts. Somebody asked about here. I just go over this a little bit with the burr and just take that sharp edge off. Okay, it will be interesting when I retest these. I will test them without the intake, and we'll get a better idea. But in reality, I took my knowledge from the junk cracked Magnum head when I took the fin off the floor, and I did the short side radius, and I did the chamber cut. And I directly applied what that head needed to fix the airspeeds. First time with this. In reality, the airspeeds are good enough that I really don't have to touch these anymore. I just have to get them all the same, and I think we're pretty much there. Okay, a little bit different view of what we've got going on as far as blue. On that pinch, you can really see the bottom of that port is doing the lion's share of the work, right? Okay, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, that is what your short side looks like. It's still very tall. In fact, it's 1.12 inches tall. In reality, would I be able to knock that down and get some more higher lift flows? Yes, I could. It's plenty thick enough. Street application, guys. It's going to be a hot street application, but it's still a street application, okay? Now, let's see if we can change that light. Maybe we can look at that better. No. Okay. Alright, that's the short side pretty much where it's going to be. I did forget to do that lower valve seat cut, but no big deal. Okay, very difficult to see because the blue is so light, but there is definitely blue from over here all the way around to here. Okay, well, you can see there's a couple speckles. Okay, now, someone's going to say, oh, Charlie, that looks terrible. Well, guess what? Your carb is going to do something very similar to that. Okay, I did hold the aerosol can about 6 inches or so up above the plenum. I did not put a clay radius on it. I probably should have, but I didn't think of it at the time. That probably would have changed it a little bit. But in reality, the Dykem went straight down, hit the floor, and ran around. Let's change our lighting. I don't know if you guys can see in there or not. Got a lot on that inside wall. Let's change the lighting. All right, maybe that's a little bit better. Not sure where that pulsing is from. Probably from my LED lights. They're cycling, similar to the camera. But we can see quite a ways down that port. On that inside wall, it's got a lot of blue. You don't see much on the outside wall, though, do you? This gives you an idea of how the air flows through a manifold. Let's flip this over and see what we can see. Okay, you see a ton of liquid. Now, see, that was funny because on the other side, you can see where I missed a bunch on this runner. But it's the air. The Dykem starts on the inside wall and then moves over to the outside wall. You can see how much liquid is right at the bottom there. Interesting experiment, okay? You can see it's rolling right along the floor. Now, obviously, Dykem is way thicker than fuel. If you get halfway decent on the Dykem, it's going to do a great job with fuel. Now, you do have to remember that we did have a good sized lip of the cylinder head over these. I do have to fix that. I have to fix it. And end of story. Okay. Just a little bit different view with a little bit different lighting. Interesting stuff, right, guys? Okay, guys, let's see if we can get this done without ruining our place on this phone. Okay, 7th cut, 8th cut. These pluses and minuses are in reference to these flows. How did we do? Now, you got to remember, this has got a lot done to it. If you take a look at the notes, 8th cut, fin removal, SSR work, chamber cut. Okay, it's had a lot done. Now, of course, the very scientific people will be like, Charlie, you can only do one modification at a time in order to get real information, and you're absolutely right. But when you've had it up to here with something and you just have to get it done, you may have to skip a step here and there, because that's just the way it is in the big city. How'd we do? Plus, 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 minus. Plus, 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 plus. I'll take it. It's a slightly bigger port. I mean, maybe a CC. It's a win. Now, like I said, I did add area according to what I noticed on that junk Magnum head. So I did well as far as my air speeds. You know what? Let's do our swirls first. Remember, I wasn't completely thrilled with this curve. It's all right. How about this one? It's certainly different, right? The chamber cut makes it much more active, and it's actually too fast down here. But then again, so is this, right? Okay, it didn't change it that much. We definitely have more meat in the mid-range there. I'd rather see that than completely dead, but we still have to put the intake on it and test it. So that will change. So let's take a look at our air speeds, okay? I took the air speeds at 0.5 inches here because it was flowing 278. Okay, 278 is a darn good number. Remember, the seat is a little small for a 202. I really could take that 202 and grind it down a little bit, which I probably will have to do, which I'm not looking forward to. But that's the way this job has been. No big deal. At 300, we went up a little bit, right? This is the only loss we had. Everything else was better. And once it completely lost it over the short side, it's done. Okay. But I'm still taking it as a win. Now, like I said, I had to take my lifts at 500. Notice how fast our pinch is at this point. That pinch is holding us back at this point. Okay? I could add some area to it, and we may gain a few CFM. We also may lose a little bit in this range. Sorry, guys. I don't always look at the screen when I'm doing this, and the screen goes off. I hate that, but sorry. Okay, let's move on to what our roof speeds were. What our roof speeds are, 226, 228. They're going to change because of the chamber cut. Lets more air out around our roof side, right? But take a look at what happened to our speeds. 226, 228. They're almost right on top of each other. I'm going to take it as a win. Okay, definitely better than these guys. These are 20 off. And our short side, it was too fast there. Well, guess what? It's even worse now because it's more efficient now. Right? We're getting more air around it now. Can I give it any more area? It's a good question. I could do some measuring. But remember, if I do one, I got to do 8. And we're really not too far off from where it's got to be. Okay? I've driven stuff that had that much flow on the street. You have to be careful on upshifts. If you have an automatic transmission, from first to second at 70 miles an hour, you may break the tires loose. Think I'm kidding? Okay, I'm kidding. Traction is going to be a problem. All right? What else do I have to say about that? Good luck driving in the rain. Yeah, it'll be... The gas pedal turns into an on-off switch at that point. It's either idling or it's redlining. You'll like it. Okay, now to do our test, this was our roughed out intake. Remember, that intake has not changed since this test. This test is still the exact same roughed out intake. Okay, but we did the fin removal, the short side radius, and the chamber cut. Okay. So, what do we got? These pluses and minuses are in reference to these flows. Plus, plus, minus, minus, plus, plus, minus. It's still positive. So that means even through our intake manifold that has a huge lip on the bottom and not perfectly gasket matched, and a 770 carb, it's still like the modifications we did. Now, how about our swirl? Plus equals Plus, 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 equals, 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 plus, plus, plus. That's in reference to our curve here, which was basically dead until it lost it over the short side. I'd like to have something in this area here, okay? Alrighty. Alright, guys. So, some cool stuff. As of right now, through the manifold, we topped out at 257 CFM at 500. I'd still like to have it top out at 600, or even better. So it does need some more work. Remember, this manifold is roughed out. I haven't gone through and made my changes to make the air speeds, the airflow through each port as even as I can. That's a big job in itself. I think the only thing I'm going to do on the heads is maybe cut down those 202s, probably something like 2 inches. I should be able to do that on my Su 2001. In any case, they're brand new valves. I can't bang them up, so I have to be cautious doing that. All right, guys, it's Friday. I'm beat. It's going to be hot all weekend, and I got to get these done. And I got to finish the New Zealand EQs. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night.